There is a lot of warmongering going on in Europe at the moment. This is Mark Rutte. He is the NATO Secretary General, and on the 11th of December in Berlin, he gave a speech. His audience was European finance ministers, and he tells them Europe must adopt a wartime mentality. Rutte says we are Russia's next target and implies imminent danger. Here's the truth. Russia is dangerous, but it is currently degrading its future combat power in Ukraine. The "we are next" narrative serves to mobilise budgets and war contracts, ignoring the fact that Russia is currently bogged down and exhausting its offensive in Donbass. This is a report from the New Eurasian Strategy Centre. That report proves that after finishing the war in Ukraine, Russia would then need 7 to 10 years to rebuild its forces enough to face any kind of large-scale operation against NATO. The threat to Europe of Russia is real, but it is conditional and long-term and has clear motivations. Russia has never postured active hostility against Europe. Their enemy is the United States. 3 more sources for you. This one is from the Centre for Strategic and International Studies. This one is from the Centre for European Policy Analysis. And this is an article from Fortune by Jason Ma. This is what those Western strategic intelligence and policy analysis outlets have said about Russia. 2026 is a critical tipping point for Russia. They are burning through their Soviet-era stock of tanks and artillery in Ukraine. The restoration of old vehicles has been slowing down as the easily restorable vehicles are depleted. Russia is producing new equipment and does have its own military-industrial complex, but it is not matching the rate of attrition as this war in Ukraine continues. How are they going to push into Europe without heavy investment in tanks? Russia also has been relying on expensive contractors to fight the war in Ukraine, and personal losses have been high. Economically, the country is overheated and facing massive stagnation. The military sector is cannibalizing Russia's civilian economy. There are huge labour shortages across Russia, and the only high-paying jobs are in service. They have traded their European dependency for Chinese dependency. Yes, Russia is dangerous, but it's anemic and it's trapped in the Donbass. It's not preparing to invade Paris. Rutte frames Russia as if it's Nazi Germany in 1939, an expanding power with unlimited appetite for war. That description more accurately fits Europe's behaviour. So if Russia is exhausting itself and strangling its own economy to keep fighting in Ukraine, why would it do that? And why is Rutte screaming, "We are next"? Europe is not on the defensive. It is methodically grinding Russia down through industrial superiority, funded by a fearful public. Rutte is selling insurance against a flood when really he wants Europe to pay for irrigation. Because if European voters understood how degraded Russia was in its military capacity, they would demand money for hospitals, not Rheinmetall. What's really happening here is the EU wants to replace dependency on the US war machine with its own. They are selling an imminent attack narrative to increase military spending. That military spending then goes to private weapons manufacturers who lobbied these politicians. For Moscow, Europe isn't even the enemy. It considers Europe a vassal of the real enemy, Washington. However, this rhetoric is dangerous because it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Europe is Russia's best customer, even still, even now. Amidst the war and sanctions, the commercial relationships have not vanished. In 2025, the EU remained the largest buyer of Russian gas. This article was written less than a week ago. Europe is still sending billions to Moscow for gas. I repeat, Europe is still sending billions to Moscow for gas. If Europe really wanted to stop Russia, a great solution would be green energy. In the first 6 months of 2025, EU states spent 4.5 million euros on Russian gas. In the month of August 2025 alone, they paid 979 million euros for Russian fossil fuels. So Rutte talks about the imminent Russian invasion while Europe sends them €1 billion a month. The logic here is simple. If European leaders are really that afraid that Russia is about to roll into the bloc in tanks, the rational first move would be to cut that cash flow and replace it with renewables. Europeans aren't stupid. They know this. They've done the maths already. They've published papers. And an E3G briefing from earlier this year gave an actual plan. These measures could replace roughly 2/3 of Russian gas imports within a year if rolled out at pace. Cheaper also than the 5% GDP demand from NATO for weapons spending. In fact, this report from March, this found that Europe has actually overbuilt gas import capacity, meaning the EU is currently wasting European resources locking in more gas infrastructure, more than is even needed. The technical paths to renewable energy are sitting there unused. We have what we need to not import Russian gas. The EU is choosing to continue to buy Russian gas, to continue to fund their military-industrial complex, to refuse the transition to green energy, and to instead increase military spending. This is not about protecting Europeans. This is not about what's best for Europeans. Spending 5% of GDP on tanks while continuing to purchase Russian gas is strategically incoherent. It begs the age-old question, are you stupid or evil? Now think of it from Moscow's perspective. It's not great business strategy to invade your best customer. Moscow's long-term strategy for Europe is subordination, not destruction. It wants a Europe that is politically neutral and economically open. It wants a Europe detached from the United States. Have you ever looked inside the Kremlin? I know you don't speak Russian, but have you ever got your hands on anything? Any policy document, any translation into English? Here's one. There's even a little button, read in English. It's commentary about Russia's contradictory stance towards the EU. That article quotes Russian strategic documents and speeches made at the Valdai Club in October 2025. The Valdai Discussion Club is a Russian think tank. Russia explicitly names the United States as its existential enemy. Moscow sees Europe as a vassal state, a territory captured by American hegemony. I've done a video on the Treaty of Versailles. I do believe that Europe was fiscally colonized by the United States. And I think Trump's recent rhetoric confirms we were never really their ally. Moscow would love to see a Europe that is decoupled from the US. Ironically, Rutte's demand for increased European military autonomy, Moscow fine with this, to be fair. They don't mind. I think everybody, me, Mark, Rutte, Russia, we can all agree that Europe being dependent on United States warhawks for its defence was not great. But what Rutte is trying to do is create military-industrial complex part 2. The increase in military spending is flowing into the coffers of private contractors. This is exactly what's wrong in America. The tactic Russia uses is called hybrid terror, sabotage, and airspace violations. Not to prep for an invasion, but to make the cost of continued US alliance too high for ordinary Europeans. Is supporting Ukraine worth losing your power grid? Rutte's rhetoric is manufacturing a threat, and it is a dangerous mechanism. NATO's defence looks a lot like offence to the Kremlin. For Moscow, demands to lock in 5% of GDP spending and ever-warm factories, which I'll talk about in part 2, they see that as the creation of a massive forward-deployed army on their border. And they will respond to that perceived aggression. Klingendal is a Dutch think tank. They are warning that this proactive defensive build-up of weaponry in Europe is what will trigger a Russian strike. A self-fulfilling prophecy for NATO. I have written about this on my Substack, alymacforever.substack.com. Come back for part 2, I will be looking at the contracts. Who wins